The farm sat on a stretch of land that had been in Ethan Miller's family for decades. Nestled between thick woods and rolling hills, it wasn't just a livelihood, it was a legacy. Ethan raised cattle, grew crops, and lived the kind of life that demanded grit and patience. His property had only one road leading in and out, a narrow path that wound its way through the edge of a newly built subdivision. For years, that road had served the family without trouble. But everything changed the day the homeowners association in the subdivision decided they wanted control. It started with complaints. HOA members argued that Ethan's tractors and farm trucks made too much noise. They claimed the dust from his vehicles was disruptive to the community aesthetic. Karen Whitfield, the HOA president, was the loudest voice among them. She had a reputation for policing lawns with tape measures and handing out fines for porch decorations. To her, Ethan's farm didn't fit her vision of a perfect neighborhood. She rallied her board with promises of shutting down his access road, insisting it was private community property. Ethan tried reasoning with her. The road had existed long before the subdivision, and the legal documents clearly showed his family's easement rights. But Karen wasn't interested in facts. She was interested in control. One morning, Ethan woke to find the road blocked. Large metal gates, chained and padlocked, stood where the path once opened. HOA signs warned that unauthorized vehicles would be towed. At first, Ethan felt disbelief. He had cattle to feed, deliveries to make, and crops that required his attention. Blocking that road wasn't just inconvenient, it was a direct attack on his livelihood. He called Karen, demanding the gates be removed, but she smugly replied, "This is private property now. If you don't like it, take it up in court." Her tone made it clear. She thought she had already won. But Karen had underestimated Ethan. Farmers weren't strangers to problem solving, and Ethan had the kind of stubborn determination that came from years of working sunup to sundown. Instead of arguing, he went quiet. He began studying the layout of his land, the wooded areas, and the terrain beneath it. And then an idea sparked. An idea so bold and unconventional, it almost sounded like something out of a legend. If they wanted to block the road, he would build another. Not above ground, but beneath it. For weeks, Ethan worked in secrecy. Using old excavation equipment his father had once bought at an auction, he began digging into the hillside that bordered his property. It wasn't easy. The soil was stubborn, rocks had to be cleared, and the work demanded long nights after the farm chores were done. But slowly, he carved out a tunnel wide enough for his trucks and equipment. He reinforced it with timber beams, lined parts with concrete, and laid gravel for traction. By the time he was finished, Ethan had created a hidden passage that led from his farm to the county road beyond the subdivision. No HOA gate could touch it, no smug neighbor could block it. His farm was connected again, and this time on his terms. The tunnel might have remained his quiet victory, a personal solution to Karen's tyranny, until the HOA overplayed their hand. Karen began bragging to neighbors about how she had cut off the farmer. She even filed reports to county officials, claiming Ethan was trespassing every time he tried to use the blocked road. What she didn't realize was that Ethan had already shifted all his operations to the tunnel. Deliveries, farm supplies, even livestock transport, all went through the hidden passage. When county inspectors arrived to investigate, Ethan led them through his tunnel. They were stunned. Not only was the passage legal, it was a private structure on his own land, built entirely without infringing on the subdivision. The inspectors also discovered that Karen's roadblock wasn't legal at all. The original easement documents confirmed Ethan's right-of-way, and by blocking it, the HOA had violated state law. The findings spread quickly. Neighbors who had once supported Karen began to turn on her. They realized she had dragged them into liability by overstepping her authority. Lawsuits followed, not from Ethan, he didn't need to sue, but from residents angry at the fines and rising HOA fees used to fund Karen's schemes. And then came the biggest blow. During the investigation, it was uncovered that Karen had diverted HOA funds into the roadblock project, spending thousands of dollars on gates, signage, and private contractors without proper approval. Her corruption, once hidden under the guise of protecting the community, was laid bare for all to see. The HOA board voted to remove her, and county officials fined her heavily for the illegal blockade. She lost not just her position, but also her reputation. What she had meant as a triumph became her downfall. The road was reopened permanently, but by then Ethan hardly cared. He still used it occasionally, but his tunnel had become his pride. It was a symbol of resilience, proof that no amount of arrogance could corner him. Word of Ethan's tunnel spread far beyond the subdivision. Farmers from nearby counties came to shake his hand, inspired by his ingenuity. Even local newspapers ran stories about the farmer who outsmarted an entire HOA with grit and determination. To the community, Ethan wasn't just a landowner anymore. He was a folk hero, a reminder that persistence and cleverness could topple even the most stubborn walls. As for Karen, she tried to rebuild her image, but the damage was done. Every time she walked through the neighborhood, whispers followed her. People remembered not the power she once wielded, but the humiliation she had brought upon herself. She had tried to block Ethan, but he had gone beneath her, literally and figuratively. Ethan never gloated, never threw his victory in anyone's face. Instead, he kept farming, kept building his legacy, and every so often when he drove his truck through the cool, shaded tunnel, he smiled. Karen thought she could bury him under her rules. But in the end, it was he who dug deep and came out stronger on the other side.